with Dusty May, head coach of Florida Atlantic. Dusty, just an absolute remarkable historic year for you guys to be able to do, not just for Florida Atlantic, just an absolute historic year. Have you had any time to just reflect on what you've done since that clock hit zero?
The closest thing to reflection has been when I've watched the games from last season and to see the celebration after the game here versus UTEP, or the game versus UAB in the conference tournament, or the NCAA game. So I've watched most of the games from last season. So that's been the only true reflection.
What has this offseason just been like to try and get those guys refocused as you go into next season?
Well, we've tried to anticipate what our new issues will be. Every team, there's going to be issues. There's going to be things that come up during the season. So we do our best to try to anticipate what they'll be based on knowing our players and what's around them. But it's hard to do that because, things just come up. But we've had a very healthy summer. Guys have worked hard. They want more. They don't seem satisfied or content right now. Obviously, it's going to be a long season, and people are going to be up for us emotionally, and we're going to have to weather some storms. But we're excited for the opportunity, and we feel like because we'll be prepared, it's not pressure, it's opportunity.
You coach the game with this calm but intensity about yourself. Where do you think that came in your coaching career?
Well, the intensity is the natural piece. I've always been very intense and fiery, and just over the years trying to decide who I wanted to be as a coach. And I never really gave in to this is who I am. There were times when I thought I'm not good enough. This isn't good enough, or maybe this attribute is in the way of me being successful. And so it's years and years of evolving, and I'm still evolving, trying to figure out the best way for me to do things. But our players also give me and the staff a great deal of confidence. So that goes that goes into the equation as well.
I just want to go back to last year for a second, and you go back to that Florida game. But Michael Forrest comes off the bench. He's your lone senior, and he goes for 20 points. I think he was 4 for 7 from the three-point line. And then later on, Elijah Martin comes off the bench.
Martin, a quick shot, and connects from downtown.
Didn't flinch when it was their turn to come off the bench, and it seemed like everybody else bought into that.
Well, it started with Mike, obviously, being a fifth-year senior. We talked about it in advance that he brought so many things to our team.
Forrest off the bench with 20 points.
I basically told him as a coach, I feel very comfortable with you coming off the bench, because if we need energy, you bring it. If we need playmaking, you bring that. If we need shooting, you bring that.
And FAU comes into Gainesville, defeating Florida for the first time ever.
Once we got going and Elijah and John L were coming off the bench because they'd had an injury, and we started playing really good basketball, then it was simply, hey, we don't want to shuffle things right now. We just need to stay with what we're doing, and we never dreamed that we'd win 20 games in a row. But I think it became a real badge of honor, a shared sacrifice, where you look up and you see other really good players doing the same thing. So it's not as if you can be a malcontent or complain because you have another all-league guy sitting next to you ready to check in. But also they knew coming into the game 3.5, 4 minutes in, when the other team is coming out of a timeout a little bit fatigued, our guys are fresh, going to the table, ready for another wave. So it was like a living organism. It became a life of its own. But without a doubt, the shared sacrifice that they all had, they used it as pride.
The energy level in the gym, the passion that everyone's playing with, from your players to the staff on the sidelines, there's a standard that's been set. When do you think for you felt like that stage, that standard was set here at this program?
Last year's team, the first workout, the year prior, it just felt different. We had great leadership within our locker room and on the floor, and the environment that we had tried to create the first 3 or 4 years, it felt like it was finally getting to the pinnacle of where every day we have those expectations, and the players are holding each other accountable, where before it felt like the coaches were trying really hard every day to hold the players accountable. This year, so far this season and last year, we've been a player-led program, and they hold each other to very high standards. So ideally, we'd like to take some credit because we created that type of environment, but they bring it every single day. They love to work, they love to compete. So it's more of a group of like-minded guys who came together, and now this is the combustion of it all.
One of the hardest things to deal with in sports is expectations. and you have a season last year, not to say that there weren't any expectations, but I don't think anybody, felt like FAU was going to make it to the Final Four. Again, just a historic run. You can't get to March, tomorrow. What's the messaging to your team as you guys start fall camp here and you go into the season?
Well, we usually don't look too far in forward just by nature, because those are all outcome based, and you need some good luck. But we talk about the pre-conference is one season, and we want to prepare ourselves to be in contention to win a conference championship. And if we win a conference championship, then that will get us into the tournament. And then the way we're built, the way we defend, we rebound, we're fearless. So we think that all of those things rolled into one are a recipe for success in the tournament, where we're not going to be afraid of failure because of what we did last year. We're going to go out and we're going to let it fly. We're going to play aggressive. We're going to play confident, and just trust the results. And one of our players put in the group chat last week, Kobe Bryant's message. They asked him whether he hated losing or loved winning more. And he said neither. Every day is an opportunity to learn and grow, and that's how I've found basically my peace and my comfort. And that's kind of how we've been, where every day if we don't do well, it's all about showing up the next day with a great attitude, ready to learn and improve. And if we do well, let's figure out why we won and how we need to continue improving. So we're not going to talk much about, we probably need to have a funeral for last season and then move on and get ready to climb the next mountain, because we're definitely not starting on the same mountain that we finished on last year.
Dusty, listen, man, I wish you all the best. There's a level of excitement here in Boca that you, your staff, your players have created all across the state of Florida, in South Florida. I know the Field of 68 is excited to come here, so best of luck this season,
Appreciate
man.
it, man. Thank you.
Brother.